What's up, everybody? I just thought I'd take a couple of minutes to give my reaction, and it is only that, my reaction. I don't claim to speak on behalf of anybody else here, to the Genie Wijnaldum interview with Henry Winter of The Times. I'm not aware if it was an exclusive interview or not, it probably was, but Genie gave his thoughts on his reasoning behind leaving Liverpool. Now, it's fair to say this has caused a bit of a stir on social media, mainly on Twitter, because that's the platform that I've been most looking on around this today. So let's break down what happened. So first of all, the headline of the article starts out with, "I gave everything for Liverpool, but sometimes some fans on social media did not make me feel loved." Now, do I believe Genie gave everything for Liverpool? Absolutely. I've only ever looked at him as a model professional, somebody who, even in the last year of his contract, was always available for the manager, always looking to take responsibility, and I have a lot of admiration for the man as a footballer and for the time he spent at Liverpool Football Club. I also feel like this was a bit of an unnecessary parting shot or a bit of a low blow. Now, he does say some fans on social media, but you have to take that whole phrase with a massive pinch of salt, because social media is a very reactionary place. As an example, I very rarely post much, or if anything, after Liverpool games on Twitter, because I'm probably at my height of emotional reactions right then, and when you're writing stuff down, it's far easier in the written words to spew venom and hate, but it doesn't make it any less acceptable. So do I believe Genie Wijnaldum received abuse? Of course, 100%, without a shadow of a doubt. But I also think some context of the overall situation is required. So I'm a nobody. I'm just some fella that sits at home and talks about football on YouTube. And I receive the hate and I receive positive stuff. But I also, over the years, have gotten to know that you can't look at Twitter or social media as the real world, because it's full of some people who are just there for attention. It's full of some people who are there to give lovely, kind words of encouragement. It's full of some people with views that we'll all disagree on. But I'll read out a little bit more of the article now, and I'll go a bit further with why I feel disappointed with what Genie had to say. He said, "On social media, if we lost, I was the one who got the blame, claiming that I wanted to leave." Again, I think that's a very generalised statement there from Genie. I'm sure there are people who said he was to blame, the same way there may have been people who said Trent was to blame, or Adrian was to blame, or pick a player was to blame. The fact that he was in the last year of his contract, from the people that I interact with, and of course I can't speak for everyone, I never really got that vibe from anyone. Everybody was just annoyed that the club had let it get to that point, that he was in his final year. Everybody, to a man, woman and child that I spoke to or that I interacted with, wanted Genie to stay and were very annoyed at the club. In fact, I've continuously spoke about how annoyed I am that the club allowed Genie to leave. Genie goes on to say, "There was a moment when I was like, wow, if they only knew what I was doing to stay fit and play every game. You cannot complain because that is your job," which is a little bit ironic, because in this interview he goes on to complain. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to complain. Nobody should be abused on social media. No, in an ideal world, none of us would be. No footballer would be. No pop star would be. No politician would be. But we also have to understand that what happens in social media and what happens when we're face to face with people are very different things. So we'll continue on. I'm not fit. You get players in the last years who are like, "I'm not staying because it's a risk." I did the opposite. I didn't always play good, but after the game I could look in the mirror and say, I trained hard to get better. I absolutely believe that that is 100% spot on from Genie. I think he always gave everything, and he always went out and acted like a thorough professional. So no points for me on that whatsoever. There was a moment when I didn't feel loved. In the last 2 seasons, I had it a few times. The media didn't help. There was a story like I didn't accept the Liverpool offer because I wanted more money, and fans made it like, okay, he didn't get the offer, so he doesn't try his best to win games. Everything looked like it was against me. Some moments it was like, wow, me again. Now, contract negotiations, I absolutely understand, are a tricky thing. And all I can say is, from those that I was speaking with, what we believed the case was that the club were lowballing them, or that Genie wanted maybe a 3-year contract and the club were offering 2. Now, of course, we're saying this from an outside perspective, as fans. But as fans who are, I suppose, like to believe that we're somewhat informed of situations, as much as any fan can be. So, to hear Genie feel like he was the sole one taking any blame or responsibility, I just don't think that that's a fair reflection. I'm not trying to underplay the fact that he was abused or people pinpoint him. It absolutely happens. But you know, it's fair to say that he was getting to the point of his career where I think he was entitled to a better contract from the club. I think he was entitled to a decent payday, and he's got that decent payday at Paris Saint-Germain. Now, where I do take a little bit of frustration with what Genie had to say is what he's saying, in my opinion, makes it sound like he believes when he's at PSG or wherever else he may go in his career, that it's all going to be sunshine, flowers and lollipops, that he'll never receive a bad word said against him again on social media. That's just the way social media is. And I don't think any fan base is squeaky clean, because we all have people who are reactionary, or people who are ignorant, or people who are ill-informed, or people whose views just are different to the views of many others. That's just the way of the world, and we all have to deal with it. I just felt at a time where many of us Liverpool fans were scratching our heads trying to figure out why the club let Genie go. So we'd heard that the training ground didn't want him to leave, the players, the staff, the coaches, I believe all of that. He looks like a fella that would have gotten on with everybody at the club. From our perspective, from my perspective, as a fan, my frustration was only aimed at the owners of the football club, because I didn't even believe that Klopp wanted Genie to leave. So I may never know why Genie left. I don't know if it was for money. I don't know if it was over length of contract. But I also know that there were very few players whom I remember fans singing their songs so much, having so much admiration and respect for, even after they'd left the club, as Genie Wijnaldum. So to see him feel like was unloved by some Liverpool fans on social media, it stings a little bit. I won't lie. It stings me. And of course, again, I can only give you my opinions on this. I just feel like it's unnecessary. It's an unnecessary jibe at fans who, in the whole, were very, very supportive of Genie. As I said, I don't think I ever done a stream, a Liverpool watch-along, without singing Genie's song. Look at the last couple of weeks of streams that I did. I only ever spoke about the frustration of Genie leaving the club from a perspective of he should have stayed. He should have stayed because the owner should have made him feel loved. The owner should have made him wanted to stay. To hear that perhaps the fans, or the fans on social media, played some part in Genie's decision to say, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's a fair reflection. And Jamie Carragher went a little bit stronger in his opinion of it. I mean, I can read out what Jamie Carragher had to say here now. He said, I love Genie, but this is not right. Social media is a circus and every club has clowns. That's true. Sometimes I could be a clown. I'm sure you at home, sometimes you can be a clown. And certainly sometimes we can all be frustrated. Turn off your notifications if it's bothering you that much. Delete the app. He wanted more money. The club said no. That's football. Now, whatever opinion you or I may have as fans, I would believe that Jamie Carragher probably has more inside scope as to what's going on at Liverpool. So I'm not saying Carragher is the be all and end all, and Carragher's absolutely right either, but I do feel like it was a cheap shot from Genie, and I don't know if he was maybe done a little bit dirty by the author of the article, but it is a quotation, so I imagine it is words that came out of Genie's mouth. Everything does require everything does require structure, everything does require perspective, which is why I tried to read out some of this article, to give you a wider range. Go read the full article for yourself and of course make up your own opinion, but I just feel like this will leave an unnecessary stain on Genie's time at Liverpool and leave a lot of us Liverpool fans with a bit of a bad taste in our mouth for a player who I and those people that I associate with love dearly and, enjoyed his time at Liverpool and view him as having been an integral part of our success at the football club. And I've never enjoyed singing a song more than the Genie song, but seeing this article today, I mean, first I read the quote and I thought, somebody tagged me in it on Twitter and I thought, nah, this has to be wrong. Surely this has been lost in translation somewhere. But then when I see it was Henry Winter and it was the Times, you're talking about a top tier journalist there, very well respected, does great work. So not some shock jock or some journalist that's out there looking to make a name for themselves. So to see that Genie actually said the words, I don't think it was necessary, and I think it was naive of him, and I think it's also naive of him if he feels that he's not going to receive any abuse on social media if he has a bad game for PSG, for the Dutch national team, or anywhere else he may go in the future, because unfortunately, as much as we all might not like it, that is the way of the world at the minute. Doesn't mean it's right. I'm not trying to justify any of the stuff that he had said against them, because in an ideal world nobody would ever have to read hate. and we'd all be far more constructive in what we say and do. But I do feel that it's a bit of a low shot from Genie, and I think it was unnecessary. And unfortunately for me, it's left a bit of a sour taste with a player that I've always admired and loved having at the club. So I wish he hadn't have said it, and that's pretty much my take on the entire situation. Again, I'm not trying to put words in anybody else's mouth. All I've done with this video is give you my perspective on the article that I read and why it wrangled with me a little bit. Now, of course, I'd love to know your take on all of this in the comment section below. Drop a like on the video, let me know your thoughts, and please do also hit that subscribe button as well. No doubt we'll hear more about this story over the coming weeks, because I feel like there might be a little bit more to be said on this, and I would love to know Genie's perspective on the contract and what the owners offered, and, you know, was there something that could have made him stay. Hopefully that all becomes apparent in the future. But again, I want to finish up by saying I'm just saddened that Genie feels like he wasn't loved by some fans on social media, because, and I think I can speak for most Liverpool fans on this part, we loved Genie Wijnaldum, excuse me if I mispronounce, and the Genie song was one of our favourite ones to sing, and he will always be somebody who was an integral part of our success, and anyone that I've spoken to about Genie will pretty much say the same to me. So again, that's just my thoughts on it, folks. I will talk to you soon. Take care, lots of love, bye bye.